back to what I was saying, Ava. Lobby accredited. Capital J Journo. Tell me.
Thank you.
What's going on?
Forgot my lobby pass today. Big man with a gun shouted at me. It was really frightening.
Great work.
But don't worry, flirted my way through once again.
What's going on with Boris Johnson? What's happening?
Okay, so last night Boris Johnson was referred to the police by the Cabinet Office. And this is because Boris Johnson is currently being represented by lawyers that are paid for by the taxpayer. So he handed over all of his diaries to the Cabinet Office. Now, civil servants looking over those were, well, confused about why he had been in Chequers and in Downing Street doing certain activities that may or may not have breached lockdown. And so they have referred those events to Thames Valley Police and the Metropolitan Police, and both of those forces are now investigating it further. Now, this is where it kind of gets a bit murky, because Johnson's claiming that it's a stitch-up and that he didn't know that the police were investigating it, and yesterday's news was a shock. However...
We should, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we should believe everything he says.
Oh, right.
We should take it at face value. I think.
Thought you were going to tell me that I wasn't, I was being too one-sided. Or
No.
I thought you were going to be like, Ava, come on.
No, not at all. I just think,
less of the skew.
I think the man has a proven track record of honesty, and that when he says something about this inquiry, we should believe him.
Yes. And what helps that case is that on the 19th of May, the COVID inquiries say that they wrote to Boris Johnson and told him. So... Anyway, today it's all really kicked off, and the COVID inquiry are now threatening the government with legal action if they don't hand over all of Boris Johnson's diaries and WhatsApps that without redaction. Now, if you were the government and you're Rishi Sunak, would you really want to hand over the redacted version, the non-redacted, when the redacted has led to a police inquiry? just supposing.
But then, sorry, no, you keep going.
No, just the final little bit of that is that Boris Johnson has now said, after all this, he won't use the taxpayer lawyers, he's going to get his own.
Crucial distinction there. As I understand it, the taxpayer still pays for the lawyers.
Oh, he's getting his own lawyers.
He's going to choose a different law firm.
So what you're saying about the unredacted version, would Rishi Sunak want to hand that over? Well, yeah, it could kill Boris Johnson's career dead once and for all.
Is it still alive?
Are you joking? Yes, it is.
It is within the Parliamentary Conservative Party, who clearly have their ear to the ground and are so intertwined with the thoughts and feelings of the British public. I think they're so there's still this militant pro-Johnson movement within the Conservative Party. They feel so beholden to him for giving them the election in 2019, and I think they feel that Johnson returning would be toasted across the land. There'd be parties in the street if Boris Johnson was to become Prime Minister again.
Is there a distinction here between the Tory party members and the Tory MPs? Because didn't they, Johnson and Truss, they tried to stir up some kind of rebellion, right, against Rishi? Was it on the Windsor framework, right? That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
They couldn't get 40 MPs, could they?
So I mean the right. I mean the right specifically. I should be clear. I didn't mean the parliamentary party at large.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I mean, fucking Tory members would give their left nutsack, their left nut, their left nutsack, their left nut.
The left nuts.
Everyone has two.
That's why your partner wants to leave you. 2 nutsacks.
Yeah. I mean, they love him. They always will love him. They think there's some conspiracy about it. I can never understand it. There's this small constituency of people that no matter what he does, they want him to be the Prime Minister.
He could start quite a convincing and destructive QAnon-esque cult in the UK.
You don't think he already has?
Well, QAnon's been a lot more destructive in the US than it has in the UK. And there's not people who stand up there's not pro-Johnson rallies with thousands of attendees, or people who there's not, being on. There's not a being on MP in Parliament.
Yeah, but that's only because they can't drive there, because Sadiq Khan's put ULEZ. Otherwise.
And they can't go over the 15-minute boundary of their home. Yeah. Thanks to the 15-minute city.
Yeah. I think you're wrong about Boris Johnson being dead in the water. I think he's declared £5 million on the public register. That's what he's earned since leaving Prime Minister's office.
After doing speeches, yeah.
Yeah, and he's also, I don't know if you read that little tidbit about him being in Dallas the other week.
Oh, yeah.
And he was round the table and people were calling him Prime Minister. Because in America, you still call them President. And apparently he was really horny for that.
Boris Johnson, really horny? No way.
That doesn't sound like him. I think just a little subplot in this is you're not entitled to legal aid in this country if you earn, I think it's more than £12,750.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be funding his defence of the inquiry. Like you just said, right? He's doing okay. He's made £5 million since he stopped becoming Prime Minister. Why are we paying for it?
Is it because whoever ended up paying for Boris Johnson's lawyers would embroil him in another ethically dubious scandal?
That was actually something that Carl Turner pointed out today in PMQs, the Labour MP. He actually looked like he really wanted to fight Rishi. Like it kind of, he was asking this question and he said about, £12,000 you wouldn't be entitled to legal aid. And then it kind of turned into like a kind of fist fighting. It was almost like meet me in the tea room, It was quite violent. Rishi just said it's a long line. It's a long tradition.
Can you imagine how boring watching two MPs like have an actual fight would be?
I think it'd be class. When was the last time you saw a physical fight? Like an actual, not like a professional sport, like a physical mano a mano.
Knowlesy at the West Ham AZ Alkmaar fans.
Yeah, and that was like, and we all loved that. So I think actually seeing two sitting MPs, it'd be like, we could give them swords. We could have like...
but Ed, the reason the House of Commons chamber is set up
would be in the fucking chamber,
so that the opposition
obviously.
Benches would be more than a sword stroke away from each other. So
even the architectural imposition to fighting in the chamber, we wouldn't have it in the chamber.
Do you think they'd fence?
Yes.
I think it would be a highly embarrassing form of... highly embarrassing and highly ritualised combat that I think I would find deeply embarrassing.
I reckon Angela Rayner could take quite a few of them.
I'd back her, actually.
Yeah.
I'd back her.
I'd put my money on her.
Who's the hardest MP?
Lee Anderson. That photo, right? You've seen the photo with this...
Yeah.
Standing with his fists up.
Yeah.
Gary Sandbrook behind him with 2 dinners. Like, go on.